Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. And today I get to interview my friend, John Register, who has an amazing story for you. He's an amazing man. John, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate being on. It's been great getting to know you, your family. So I'm ready to have this conversation and to let's we can learn together.
Yes, brother, man, we're about to do it. Yeah, I love your energy, man. I got so much respect for you. So one thing that you want people, so first of all, I'll just say that you are a speaker, a consultant, and an author. And so that's kind of how you manifest your gifts into the world. And then as far as title, when I asked you your titles, man, you gave me like a treasure chest full of gold. John is a resilience architect. He is a decision commander. He is a life breather. Get this, y'all. This man knows himself. He's a life breather. And he's an inspirer. And his company's called Inspired Communications International. So can you tell us a little bit about the how you came by those titles or that understanding of yourself?
Yeah, so people are blowing me up on my phone right now, trying to cut all my stuff off.
Yeah, don't worry. Nah, you're good, man.
Watching this. Um, you know, I used to hate the word inspiration. I'll say I didn't appreciate it because I thought of this word as kind of one of those fluff words, like more aspirational than anything else. It wasn't a tangible word that you can do something with. And the reason for that is because I was I ran track for the University of Arkansas, was a four-time track and field All-American there, four times national champion that we won the national championships. With the Army, I did the same thing. Nine-time gold medal champion in the armed services competitions. Went to CISM, World Military Championships. Went to two Olympic trials in three different disciplines. And anytime that a reporter would write about me or write about our team, they would put us on the sports page, and we became or in the afternoons television report, right in the sport on the sports section. But when I had my injury, and for those that don't know, I'm an amputee, and came back and started running track and swimming for Paralympic sport. If they would send a sports reporter out, they wouldn't capture the athleticism. They wanted to tell the inspirational story.
Yeah.
And I was not. Why aren't you sending a sports reporter out here, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and so I would wind up on the human interest page,
Yeah.
or I know we've had all this horrible stuff that we've been talking in the news all day long, but we have John Register, and he's going to inspire us with
Yeah.
his story.
Yeah.
And it felt as if people were using me as their doormat to make themselves feel better. And I just did not like that feeling. Until one day, I was at an airport. I was wearing shorts, reading a newspaper, had my artificial running leg next to me, and this conversation started coming up with these two boys who were making a new discovery to their mother. Mom, look at that guy's leg. There goes Robot Man, right? And so I kind of laughed it off. I've heard it before. And then the mom gets up and she walks over my direction, and I think she's going to walk by me or whatever, and she leans in and says, excuse me, sir, but my children, they're really fascinated about your artificial leg. It looks like you've overcome so much adversity. I mean, you're such an inspiration. Would you please tell them what happened? And that began my journey, this shift, that just because I was sitting in an airport wearing shorts, somebody was being inspired to act. So I started looking and really understanding what this word that I had once this disdain for was actually saying.
Man.
And I don't think people understand what inspiration actually is. I certainly didn't. But inspiration comes from the Latin word inspiro, which means to breathe into. So when you breathe life into people, when you breathe into someone, they see possibilities. They are oxygenated.
Yes.
They're seeing life. My creator, my God has breathed life into me. Isn't it my duty, my responsibility to breathe life into other if I'm acting in his image?
You better preach. You better preach that,
So
man.
so that's where I was like, oh, I've missed this thing.
Yes.
And if I'm not breathing life, then I'm taking it away.
Yeah.
So anytime we see somebody in our lives, for those out here right now, knock this one, put this down, anybody who is in your life that is sucking air out of you, that causes you angst, that causes you stress, that causes you anxiety, that's a person who is a life taker. They can't be giving you life because life happens in abundance, and that is through inspiration. That's through how we're breathing into others. I
Yeah,
don't care
man.
who it is.
Yeah.
They're either breathing life into you or they're taking it away from you.
Yeah.
A plant is either growing or dying. If you're watering it, nurturing it, taking care of it, it's growing. As soon as you stop, it starts dying. So we're either, what was the Shawshank Redemption? Either get busy living or get busy dying. it's there's no in between. There's no fence sitters, right? And so that I began to, Johnny, to really think about that from that perspective. And so when I call myself a life breather,
Yeah.
it's to breathe what's been given and entrusted to me to be a steward over into other people, right? So that their gifts can accelerate and can grow and can flourish. And when I understood that, I began to see my purpose. But my purpose, according to Jade Simmons, concert pianist, extraordinary individual, my purpose is not what I do. My purpose is what other people do because I do what I do.
Yeah. Ah, dude, that's good. I'm gonna have to let that sit for a minute. My purpose is what other people do because I do what I do.
Because I do what I do.
Yeah.
So you have to be a steward over what you've been entrusted with.
Yeah.
And that's how I see myself with all those titles. I don't know what the title actually is, but I would say inspirer, right? That was probably the one that lands the most because that's the one that breathes life into others, so that helps with when people and companies are looking for someone to come in and help them become more resilient. That helps when they need to make decisions faster,
Yeah.
decision commander. So we
Yeah.
stop saying we're in uncertain times. I help people to stop saying those words. Why? Because that's a seed that's being planted. If you're always planting uncertainty, you get a crop of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So
Exactly right.
let's plant seeds of surety. Because when's the last time you ever been, when you say you're uncertain, when's the last time you had certainty? What are we talking about here, right?
Yeah.
We've
Yeah.
never had a sure thing if we knew what was going to happen tomorrow, we would act differently.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah,
just
man.
let's just own that we are always in uncertain times, but we have ways in which we can make more informed decisions by the people, the diverse teams that we can put together in order to elevate the way that we make decisions and make them faster.
Man, I love it. So there's a lot here. So I asked the first question. And my man went as deep as the ocean on the first question. So this is about to be a banger. Y'all already know, right? Because it's funny because you're saying these things, but even as you're saying these things, life breather, inspirer, resilience architect, decision commander, it is so evident in your presence as you're speaking. Like your presence actually precedes your words, right? Like you are a man, and I knew this when we first met. Like you're a man of substance. You're a man of consequence. You're a man who you understand what you're here to do, and you're not wasting time. But part of the benefit of these interviews is we get to inspire in the sense that you mean, right? Like we get to inspire people to fly higher,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
To know that same treasure, that same whatever it was that makes you a man of consequence and a man of substance is accessible to all of us,
That's right.
right? And so can you tell us a little bit about your origin story? How did you become a man of substance? How did you become a man of calling? How did you get this clarity in your life of who you are and what you're here to do? Tell us a little bit about that story and that journey.
Yeah, thanks for that. I believe, like you said so eloquently, and I say we're all a fingerprint. We're all like a hair follicle. That we all have differences, and I want to elevate whatever that gift is in you, because somebody's waiting for you to show up in that gift to be released. right? And if you're holding back, and that you're not there, somebody's not going to be released because you're trying to play small. So my origin story happens a lot. I don't even know what an origin story is. I was born in, uh, but I would say there are three people. There are more. There are four. There are four that were significant in my life, and no, and not in any order. My dad was jailed in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, for not blacks to have the right to vote, because it was to exercise the right to vote, because the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment of the Constitution gave blacks that right after emancipation. So the vote has been suppressed over all the years, and it came to a culmination in 63, Civil Rights Acts and those things. And so he was jailed in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to help expand that. We had people slain because of the right to vote. And so that is, anytime somebody's trying to take something from you, it's because there's a power dynamic that's going on. Always.
Yes. Yes.
We're just talking about voting. There's somebody that wants to usurp their power over you when they're taking things away from you, right? They're afraid of something. So that's what I saw. And I found that in a newspaper article that was in the basement, kind of buried, when I was cleaning up some stuff. And I said, what's this, Dad? And he said, oh, yeah, that's when I was jailed down there with, and he was jailed with 9 other clergy, 9 white ministers, right? And so they were separated because of segregated jails.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so fast forward, what I saw, the article was there for, was because now, since retired, the judge that put him in jail was a white woman, and he still remembers her very, very, very vividly, a smoke-filled chamber down in Mississippi. Everybody's smoking in there. And now there was a black woman who was now the judge in the same place. So you see what happens, not because that's the replacement of it, but because the system began to work so that everybody got a fair shake at law school, at education, and the best rose to the top, right? So that's the way we should do it. And if anybody's trying to suppress that from you, it's because they want mediocrity to rise.
Yeah. Come on, preach it. Yeah.
So
Wow. Because that is the effect. That is what will happen.
That's going to happen. So
Yes.
let's take it out of that context, right? Because people are going to be like, oh my gosh, it's political. No, let's take it out of the context of politics, because you're going to think it's political, and it's not political. Let's put it into volleyball. And I'll go back to the other 3 people. Let's put it in volleyball. So volleyball is a sport now that has grown. If you want to play at the Olympic level or the pro level, you must begin very early. And you must, with your daughter or your son, invest probably between $8,000 and $12,000 modestly a year.
Wow.
For your person, your son, daughter, to play club volleyball, right? To learn how to do these things, you got to play at least. And I'm being very generous with what I'm saying there. So then, how does that create the best players? It can't, because it's only the best of those families that can pay $8,000 to $12,000 a year.
Yes.
So what do you need for volleyball? You need a net. You need some Asics shoes, and you need some booty shorts. That's pretty much what you need, and a team and a facility to go play in. How is that $10,000 a player? So it's done so that you exclude the people who probably could be the best because they can't afford it.
Right. It's a filter.
And what you do is you filter it, and you scholarship those individuals in to have the 1 or 2 so that you can become the better team. See? And so then you're the same thing with soccer. You do the same thing. Why does soccer? All you need is a ball, a field, and a net. And I've seen, traveling around the world, people will tape up shoes together or something to have a ball so that the community can actually get out there and play. And every social economic group comes out to play.
Yeah.
So why do we make it so prohibitive for people to come play because of economics, because of a dollar?
Wild.
Right? So we're not getting the best players. We're only getting the best of those that are. So that's what I'm saying.
Yep. There
That's
are
how
natural
we.
filters in
It's
place
a natural filter that's in
that
place. Or not
control,
natural.
that
It's a
artificially
control
control
filter.
outcomes. Yeah.
Right. It's a control filter. So what we say is just open the borders up. Just open everything up. Just open it up. Then see then the cream rides to the top. And then you pick the best players, and now your whole system can accelerate. That's how that attorney became a judge. A judge goes into the office because she was great. She went through the system. Um, so second person is my uncle Gloucester. Uncle Gloucester, he's passed on now. He was in charge of all the speakers on the March on Washington. So everybody that was on that day, 63, he's in charge of all those platforms. He's the last person to see Medgar Evers alive,
Wow,
and he is one of these icons that
man.
as a think about that. These folks are like 27, 28 years of age, and they're causing massive shifts and changes. So much so that the FBI has opened up cases on folks.
Yes,
Right? They're afraid of these 28-year-old kids
man.
because it's disrupting the apple cart. They don't want equity, but only for a certain few people. Right? So that is, I mean, just amazing when I found those things out. My mother, she was my protector. She's passed as well. And what she did was she wanted the entire family, but she wanted not just the fairness, but she put it into practice. So she started these cultural days so that we could experience different cuisines and what makes you different, what makes you tick, what makes it. So it was powerful when we begin to because Chicago, I grew up on the west side of Chicago. Chicago is one of these cities that you have like 176 different nationalities, and you get to experience all of that in its flavor because for the most part they all kind of get along, right?
Yeah,
You go
yeah,
you go to different you go to the Italian town, you go to the Jewish town, you go to the Irish town. All these folks got towns, right? You go to
yeah.
little Ethiopia now. All so you can experience. I mean, where in the world do you get a chance to
It's wild.
experience these cultures and customs without having to leave the United States to go do so? I mean, it's phenomenal. It's brilliant. You can't own a restaurant in Chicago right now unless you're good, unless you're
Yeah,
dynamic. You
yeah.
have got to serve authentic, and it's powerful. It's great.
So
So
your mom
she
would your mom would take you to these places?
absolutely, or the place would come to us because she would make the smorgasbord of all these great cuisines come into Oak Park community. So she was really one of the pioneers of all
What?
these multicultural days.
So it wasn't just you. She was doing it for the community.
We're
She
doing it
was
for the
doing.
community.
Ah, it's so cool.
That's I'm so like, and so she put that in place. And of course, everybody once it took off, everybody wanted to take her stuff because it was so powerful, right? When you really get communities together, because we all are of the essence, our Creator has breathed life into us. So it's our duty to breathe life into others. It continues. So that was that, and then the fourth one is Stanley Redwine. And without Stanley, we might not be having this conversation because I got a little bit, could be a little hothead in college, and I went to go see my soon-to-be wife, who's pregnant with our son John Jr., and she was living in the east side of Arkansas. I was going to the University of Arkansas, so I fabricated a story to get one of our university vans, and I took it all halfway across Arkansas to go visit my fiance. Not the smartest tool that they said. It wasn't good. And so they found out about it, and Stanley he interceded and really protected me from what could have been, a GTA, man, Grand Theft Auto, for that. And so we have
Yeah.
people in our lives that protect us from stupidity, right? So
Wow.
I could have gone a whole different direction. So that was
Wow.
my big wake up call. So I'm grateful for him.
Yeah.
It was a very stupid mistake to do, and I'm glad it didn't cost me the rest of my career. It could have. It could cost me everything. And so I'm very grateful of the grace that was extended to me. I'm very aware of that. Uh, that other people probably have done it and did not get away with that thing. So I owned up to it. I had to make some reparations for sure. But at the same time, I was given grace and leniency. So I'm very thankful for Stanley for stepping in for that. Yeah.
I love it, man. And so he helped you. So then what's the story then from college and into adult life and all that kind of stuff? Like tell us how you got here.
So to get to here, and I'll go shorter on this. I was a four-time track and field All-American at Arkansas, and then we won the national championships 4 years in a row as well. I joined the United States military to continue to run track and field. The Army had a world-class and still has a world-class athlete program, and I became a soldier athlete and went on to the another Olympic trials, but not before serving in Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. I came back without a scratch, and when I was training for my third Olympic trials in the 400-meter hurdles this time, I misstepped a hurdle during a training session, dislocated my left knee, severed the artery behind my kneecap, and 7 days later, I made the election to have an amputation to my left leg. So you think about it. I'm on a military track. I'm going to be, I'm recommended for Army officer candidate school. USA Track and Field has picked me as the one to watch for the 1996 Olympic Games. I'm coming up on 29 years of age. I'm in my prime.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I can taste the Olympic Games. This is no more theory, right? I
Yeah.
think maybe I can make it, maybe I can't. This was all about execution now, right? All I had to do was just train my body to do what I know it could do, and I'd make that team. That's where I was at, right? There was a confidence that was there. And so here it is, I'm on my back now with one leg in tremendous pain and can't do anything for myself. And it was my wife that came to my lowest moment when I was thinking about, yeah, is she going to stick around, or is my son going to still see me as his dad? Do I still have a job in the military? Can I support my family? Am I going to, what's going to happen now? So all these things were hitting me like a ton of bricks. And Alice came up and she said, yeah, you know what? We're going to get through this together. It's just our new normal. And when she spoke those words, she really baselined my entire existence at that time. And I knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I had a family that was going to be in my corner. And who am I to make that burden any harder or difficult for them? And she got let go from her job because she came to support me. The job, she was working in West Memphis. We were geographically separated. I think we had been married 6 years at that point. We'd only really had 3 years together because I was on deployments or doing, running track or, stuff. So we really didn't have a lot of time together. And this was the first time that where our marriage really started was at the point of injury.
Wow.
And I think God just had different plans. My process was not was not the best thing. It was I was going to do my Olympic stuff. Then I was going to go to officer candidate school, jump out of airplanes, do Pathfinder, just
Whole
do
plan.
and
Yeah.
and do my 20 and get out, and then focus on everything else, right?
Yeah.
But that was not the way God saw it.
Man. So what was it about your wife that drew you to her originally, and that then we see kind of manifesting in this moment where she could have made a lot of different choices, right?
Yeah, I
Um,
think it was definitely physical for both of us. It was a physical attraction, I think.
yeah.
Um, and we didn't really know too much about the other person.
Yeah.
But over the course of our life, we've really gotten to not only just we I understand why God put us together.
Yes.
Because we're totally opposites. She likes this. She's a night owl. She likes the TV on at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm in bed. I can't spell my name after 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know? I'm cross-eyed, blear-eyed. I can't stay up for nothing.
Yeah.
But I threw newspapers, so I'm an early riser, right? I got up at 4:30 in the morning and throw the Chicago Tribune and the Sun-Times and the Wednesday Journal. So I'm an early riser. That's me. That's up, and it takes both. But I think what really solidifies it for me was on both times that Alice was pregnant. I knew before she did, and I told her. I said with John Jr. I said I think you're pregnant, right? Because I had morning sickness. I started throwing up for no reason. I said, I haven't even eaten anything. I'm a world class athlete. What am I doing throwing up? And so I went to her. I said, I think you need to get yourself checked. And that was just like some dropped my spirit. She's pregnant.
Yeah.
And sure enough,
Wow.
she said, I'm not pregnant. Sure enough, she was. And then the second time we're on the field, soccer field in Virginia. We're living in Virginia. This one after my amputation, and I walk up to her during the soccer practice, and I got this potent smell coming from her of breast milk. It was like potent. It was like, and
That's
so I
wild.
said, you need to get yourself checked out. And so she's thinking that she smells, and she's doing the kind of the
No
my arms.
test.
So what do you mean I got checked out? I smell you. I could have been more tactful.
Yeah. You think
What are
so?
you talking about? You smell me? What smell? I said, no, I smell breast milk. And I said, I think you're pregnant. So sure enough, she goes to the doctor. She's pregnant. So I knew both
Wow.
on both occasions, and I think it's like that because when our daughter, I'm now down here in Dallas. She's about to have a baby shower tomorrow, and I knew when I saw her come in the gymnasium. I was down in Kansas City with her brother's coaching basketball. She's the head coach for Kansas City basketball. She came in the gym, and I saw her. I looked at her. I said, "She's pregnant." I didn't say that
Wow.
to her,
Wow.
but I knew. I knew she was. There was something different about her, and so yeah. So I've had that. That's how I know we're supposed to be together because and she knows stuff about me the same way.
So there's
Um,
intuition. There's
it,
intuition that
yeah,
served you
right.
through your life.
Yeah, it's this intuition.
Yeah.
So yeah, she has it probably better than I do because I never won an argument. So,
Yeah, I'll raise my hand on that one. I'll
yeah,
raise my hand.
I learned early. There's no winning. Um, so
You learn
yeah,
how to make peace real quick.
absolutely, absolutely. Try to.
Yeah.
So that was our kind of our moment, and from there, I'll share the hardest day of my life, and then I'll share what happened after that. So the hardest day happened 1 month after my injury, which was on May 17th, 1994. So if are out there right now, put in the chat GPT, what was the major event that happened in the United States of America on June 17th, 1994? And it'll probably come up with a white Bronco going down the I-405 freeway in
Okay.
right. So that's the day of
I
OJ,
think
and I'm
that's
in
the
the
year Tupac died too. I thought you
year
were going to say
Tupac.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Um, but I was watching on television was the OJ follow
Yeah.
on the 405,
Yeah.
and I was in the most pain I'd ever been in my life. I mean, it was excruciating. There was my leg was gone. It's
Mm.
healing on the inside. It's healing on the outside. Uh, I know it's going to get worse, and there's no rest for me. It was the worst. It was the worst day, even though it would get worse. But that was the worst day, and the reason for that is because I didn't know how bad it could get. But when I saw OJ and the note that they were reading on the air, because no one knows what's happening, we just know he's in the back of this car, this white Bronco. I think Al, his friend, is driving, and the reporters are reading it's apparently a suicide note, and they're reading that note over and over again. You can go out and look at it, right? It's the letter they kept on reading, and I'm like, holy, wait, what? I mean, here's this guy who seemingly has it all.
Yeah.
Heisman Trophy winner. He's NFL Hall of Fame. He's Naked Gun 2.5, right?
Yeah. I remember that.
He's a
Yeah.
movie star. All these things. He's beloved by everybody, and he's thinking about checking out. What's this all about? And it was in that moment that I determined. It was like Holy Spirit just came over me, just determined. This will get worse before it gets better, but I'm not checking out.
Yeah. I see.
Right? I couldn't
Yes.
see the end of the tunnel. I don't even think I was even halfway down. But I made this decision to live at that
Wow.
point, right?
Wow.
Without knowing. So that was the toughest day.
Well,
So
and,
the
and
past,
so let me just
what?
even earmark that a little bit because
Yeah,
you've talked about up to this point this intuition, right? Like this conviction that comes upon you where you know things, right? And the Lord moving on you. And so I think it's probably even hard to like this sounds like a profound turning point for you, right?
It
Because
is.
it's I'm
Yeah.
picturing you there, you're in pain, you're watching OJ, and somehow that whole combination of things leads to I'm gonna live, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
and it's probably hard. It sounds like it's hard to explain maybe that the depth of what happened to you in that moment. Because would you say that that was the moment your trajectory just changed in life in general, or what's happening at that moment?
I think there are two significant points. One is the injury time and Alice for sure. Because I saw if I don't think if she would have said that, I'm not sure the second thing would have happened.
I
Or I
see.
would have seen it, right?
I see.
But
Yeah.
that was significant because
Yeah.
that was for me.
Yeah.
That was the revelation that this will be a release for a lot of people if you can get through this thing.
This will be a release for a lot of
A
people. What does
release
that
for a
mean?
lot of people. So what I mean is looking this I'm in hindsight right now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, what I mean by that is we go through life's challenges, life's experiences. And when we come out the other side, I don't believe we have overcome anything. I think we adapt to the circumstances around us. And people are watching us through that process. And as they're watching it, they're thinking about it from their own standpoint in their own lives of what they might be going through in that moment. And it releases them to say, if that guy can do it, I can do it too.
I see.
Yeah. So
Yes.
that's
That's what you mean by release.
that's what I mean by release. So it allows them to see what is possible for them. And that's not the inspirational piece of what I was thinking about of being the doormat for somebody else to rise on. That is igniting a fire in them for them to do the work that's going to take to go through their own tunnels of those own areas of despair, or not despair. I wouldn't say that's too of the actualization of what's going to have to happen for them to release themselves from their own situation and then help other people do it as well. So those are the seeds I'm talking about, the being planted that are out there.
Right.
So yeah.
I think I understand that. I mean, I think when I understand, in hindsight, you're saying what I went through at that time was going to be for the benefit of many, many
Yes.
other
Right.
people at a later time.
At a later time.
And something of that or some intuition of that you're grasping at that
At
time.
that time. Right.
But it's the two things in tandem, right? So man, like so you owe to some degree you owe the trajectory that your life is on now to God and your wife,
Right. Yep.
right?
Yep. Right. Right.
For that moment, and then this other moment where it's like it gets solidified. I think I
Right.
understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say my son as well, John, because remember one of my questions was, will he still see me as his dad?
Yeah.
So you got to unpack all this stuff. I'm not going to do
Yeah.
it right now, but we
Yeah.
don't
But
have
it's a
time.
lot.
But it's a lot to think about, because why would I even say that? Why would I think that Alice is going to leave? Who put those thoughts in my head in the first place to even think that?
Now we get to it. Yeah. Because
Yeah,
that was
right.
there.
That was there.
Yes.
And so somebody had to implant that into my head. And, maybe it's when I watched Captain Hook on Peter Pan. On that. So Peter Pan's Captain Hook's the antagonist. The movie is uh, Captain Hook has his hand bit off by Tick-Tock the crocodile. And he's dark, he's mysterious, he's scary. I'm 6 years old. I'm watching Peter Pan. I don't like him. He's the antagonist in the movie. But now I'm an amputee.
Yeah.
What do people think about amputees?
Man.
What do people think about people with disabilities? School shooting happens. Oh, it's all the people with mental health conditions. Every Halloween, I got Jason, Freddy Krueger, Hannibal Lecter coming to my doorstep, wanting some candy. I have people that are disfigured, that are being used as the things to stay away from. And now I'm that. So is my son still going to see me as his dad? That's what I'm talking about, right? So it's just not a frivolous. That's the real thing that's going on in my head. So I have to unpack all of that. And when he says to me, we used to race after church when he was 3 and 4 years old down a little creek in the country where my wife went to church. And we raced down there, and he kind of cut me off and stuff. So I'm a world class athlete. He's not going to beat me, but I'm letting him win. We fake running, and walk back. And we had these amazing conversations on the way back. And then when I had the amputation and my leg was hurting and blistered up and fever, sweated, it was horrible. Um, he asked me after church. He's 5 now, 5.5, coming up on 6. Hey, Dad, can we race down to the creek? I'm like, man, I had to look. I'm almost welling up with tears. Like I can't race him. I can't run, and I'm realizing what I've lost.
Yeah.
Right. So there's loss that's going on with me right now, and this my mindset. And John looks down at my leg, and he looks up at me, and he looks back at my leg, my artificial leg, and looks back at me and says, "Well, Dad, can we just walk down there?" And I realize this little 5-year-old has taught me that it was never about the race.
Yeah.
It was about the relationship. And I get emotional thinking about it right now.
Dude, you're making me emotional, man. Stop it.
It's it's powerful,
It's
right?
beautiful. It's beautiful.
And so he showed me what that kind of agape love is all about. I just love you, Dad. That you're my dad.
You're just my dad.
You're just my dad. And so I got all this stuff in me. This is my work to get out, not his. That's my work to get out, not my wife's. So that was powerful to me. So I would say those John and Alice and then OJ.
Strangely.
So those were the ones that really helped me to see my life with the different lens. So then I was free to see a different pathway, because life was not going to return back to normal, quote unquote, normal, air quotes. And because of that, I was able to see this new pathway. I started swimming for physical therapy. I interned my service in the military, started working for the Army's World Class Athlete Program as a sports specialist ambassador in the program. The swimming 27 months later turned into making the Paralympic swim team, where I saw athletes running and jumping on artificial legs. I had a leg made for running, and 4 years later, I win the silver medal in the long jump in Sydney, Australia.
Wow.
And
it's wild.
It's wild. And here's my she wasn't my friend at the time, but Dawn Burrell. The program I'm working, I've created for the military World Class Athlete Program because the program is shifting. We really want to get Olympians on. So Dawn Burrell comes on the squad, and she becomes my first Olympian since I want to say 1972 for an Army athlete to have made the United States team. And so in 2000, she's jumping.
Wow.
So I'm going over to Sydney as a long jumper for one-leggers, So I'm calling up Dawn and saying, what are the wind conditions like? How's the runway? What's the speed like? I'm getting all this intel from the athletes. It's crazy. So I'm saying, what's the timing of it? Because jumpers we're a different breed, right? And I realized also that I was a long jumper who became an amputee, not an amputee who became a long jumper.
Yeah.
Very different.
Very different. Yeah.
Different mindset.
Yeah.
I had been to the Olympic trials in the long jump. I jumped 27 feet with 2 legs. So there was this whole different mindset shift that was going on that I was bringing into this table now. So
did you just tell me you jumped 27 feet?
Yeah.
Is that what you just said to my ears right now?
27 too.
Oh, wow.
My longest ever jump. Yeah, I had one that was a little bit longer, but it was a foul. That was at the 1985 championships in Austin, Texas, and he couldn't. And Mike Conley was vying for me. He was saying, Mike Conley Senior, not Junior, who's plays basketball, but his dad. We were on the same team in Arkansas, and he was there watching me jump, and because he was in the competition, and when I jumped, the official couldn't show me where the mark was because they have a plasticine where you actually, when you jump, you make a mark in the plasticine if you're over the board. Well, his eyes thought I was over the board, so he raised the red flag up, but he couldn't show the mark in the plasticine.
Crazy.
which means you can't foul a jump because
Yeah.
it's gonna. If I'm over the board, it will make a
It'll
mark.
show up. Yeah.
It'll show up,
Yeah.
especially that close. You'll see something in there, and he couldn't find it. And that jump was about, I'd say it was about 27.2 as well, 20, maybe 27.4. So it was right there in the thing. So
Wow.
he couldn't show it. So they were up to something else, I think.
Crazy, man. Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. So you're finding your groove. You know what I mean? Like you're actually now competing at a very high level,
right.
still training. Tell me more of the story.
So now I have, after the Paralympic Games, I've really have solidified what I wanted to do in jumps. Right. I knew I wasn't going to go to the next games in Athens. I was just, number one, I was too old. Number two, stuff was breaking down. Right. My legs are hurting. I'm spending more time getting fixed than I am,
Yeah.
on the track.
Yeah.
So it was time. It was time to go, and I knew I was going to buy out. I had other jobs I was doing. I was now working for the United States. I was about to start working for the United States Olympic Committee.
Wow. Okay.
Um, yeah, and so I took a job with them to help build out a youth program. And as soon as I started, the war was kicking off, the second Gulf War, the Iraqi freedom, and a lot of casualties, a lot of killed in actions were coming, being sent back to Dover Air Force Base on transports. But I knew in those firefights, there were also probably 6 or 7 people that were injured in that same firefight. And they were coming back through Landstuhl, Germany, and then into Walter Reed. And so my boss at the time said, "Hey, what can we do for our injured veterans?" I said, "Well, shoot, what do you want to do? I've been working MWR for 10 years. I know pretty much every commander that's doing something in the United States Army, at least." And so we put together a wheelchair basketball demonstration clinic. And from that, it turned into then a wheelchair fencing clinic, then a team send off for Athens, Greece, that we did with Walter Reed and Georgetown Hoyas, and we did 3 different sports programs at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And that was the seeding of what became known as the Paralympic Military Sport Program that was run by the United States Olympic Committee, founded by me there. And it was incredible. It was one of these programs that it didn't take off right away because public opinion wasn't out, and Army really didn't. The military didn't want. They didn't know if they wanted this to show the casualties of war
Yeah.
recovering. Right, I get
Yeah.
it, but that means you have to also consider the cost of war before you start sending people over there.
Yeah.
Right, you
Yeah.
can't just think it's going to be granddad's war, and we're going to be out of there in 6 days. So you got to think about all that stuff. That program takes off. I get some funding for it out of Congress, going with the team who put together a $2.5 million request. I walked out with $15 million.
Whoa.
So it was 5 for the DoD and 10 for the VA programs. So that was kind of my heyday, my coup de grace, I would say. The bigger one was, my biggest thing I wanted to do was get 2 countries, because I told you I went to CISM, which is the World Military Championships. These are NATO and non-NATO countries that meet on the battlefield of sport. It's just very
Wow.
powerful. It's very powerful.
Yeah.
So since I had seen that, I wanted like an Iraqi that's blown up in an American that's blown up an Iraqi to meet on the battlefield of sport.
Yeah.
That's my big, it still is my big thing. So I wasn't able to do that, but I was able to work with countries and help be a part of advisory council to get 7 countries together. So we got, I can't remember all the names of countries. It was the United States, it was Canada, France, Germany, Italy, I think in the Netherlands. I think that's the other one that was there. So we did it at a CISM Games for track and field athletics, and we took the best athletes that had been retired, and that was a big hurdle, because CISM is for active duty service members, and a lot of people don't track their military populations once they leave. So that was another challenge, that a can of worms that I didn't expect, right? because they don't track them like we do in the United States and some other countries. So that was the heavy lift, and we got 7 countries together, and we had a championship over there. But that's the closest I've been to it. Prince Harry is now running Invictus Games, so he came over in 2013 to Colorado Springs, and he watched the program that had been built and which turned into Warrior Games that the DoD is running. The DoD Warrior Games is the collective ground to move those soldiers into soldiers, airmen, Navy, sailors, coasties into the Invictus Games. So it's kind of a talent pool, scout kind of thing. So it's a natural stair step of progression.
Man.
Yeah.
All right. So then what's the leap to now?
So now is in 2019, mutually, I left the United States Olympic Committee January 4th at 12:30 and 34 seconds.
You marked the times well.
Mark the time. It was significant. I had a great time. I learned a lot at the United States Olympic Committee, and it's a great organization, association, nonprofit. But we had just grown apart, and it really came down to values of growing parasport, how to grow para-athletic sport. Because I no longer could unsee some things that I knew we weren't going to invest the resources to do it. So there's a gentleman, his name is Dr. Harry Edwards. He primarily works with the black athlete and talks about these growth, how to grow an entity, how to grow programs or systems. And he said, in order to have sustainable growth, you have to have 3 things in place. One is you have to have a dependable and developed pipeline of talent. So think about the NCAA that gets our Olympic class athletes. We watch them compete on the world stage, not just Americans, but the world sends their best to the United States to get trained in the collegiate system. So that's what I'm talking about. You got an aggregate that's like that. We don't have that in parasport. It's not built. It might be being built, but it's not built. So number 2 is you have to have a pervasive demand. Somebody that is saying that this talent, which we don't really have, actually we need to do something with. We need to build the system. We need to give them the opportunity not because they deserve it, because we will benefit from them. Right? That's a different mindset.
Yeah.
So, and there's the mindset at that time, I'm not sure, maybe it's just changed now, was not a benefit to the organization, right? It was, man, we got to do this.
Yeah.
Right? So
right.
What resources are they going to take? So anytime you're thinking about that, you're in a scarcity mindset, right? And so that was number 2. So we didn't have that, a pervasive demand. Not true. There are pockets, there are people, there are parents that come in and stuff, but most parents are just focused in on their own child, right? And they build a community around their child to support their child, and the child then feels locked into that community, that system, because it's built around them by the parents.
Yeah.
So they don't want to move away from that system.
Right.
Because if they do, the whole thing kind of falls apart. And then third is the entity that's being impressed upon to change. They actually have to want to change. So again, they'll resist by saying, "Oh, we just don't have the funds right now. It's not in the budget. That's not our focus right now. That's not our true core mission." When in actuality, it is, because you're supposed to be building up a network and a pipeline. You're just choosing not to invest the money and the time, expenditure, and energy into that thing.
Yep.
Which is fine. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying that's a strategy. That's a choice. And so I personally could not get on board with that any longer. It was a split. So I could either, sit down and back up and just twiddle my thumbs, because that wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
So now it's shifted in the place where I think it should be, but I'm not sure if it's for the right reasons. So what do I mean? USA Track and Field was told to take Paralympics, or para track. And so they just had their first world championship, or first championship with the temporarily able-bodied athletes in Eugene, Oregon. I haven't heard how it went, but I think it's going to be fine. It's going to be great. Not only is it the right thing to do, I think it's a revenue generator for them, which could be seen as a great thing or it could be seen as a threat. Because when NBC's trying to make the stories happen to sell tickets to you and I to watch on our phone the broadcast, they're trying to find stories that sell, right? They're trying to make a story so we'll follow the storyline. Well, it's hard to do that for an Olympian. You got to dig to find one. With the Paralympian, shoot, throw a dart. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a crazy story, right? That they have gone through. And so now you got the storyline over here, and are you going to actually elevate them because of the story that actually sells the tickets for us to get on our phones? So that's the thing. So it can go really deep down the rabbit hole.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because that's just so much of your experience and so much of your passion.
Right.
Right. And your story.
Yeah, and it's not. And now I left it to because of building the Paralympic military sport program. For whatever part I had, because I'm a combat veteran. Not too many people that enter the military go to combat. Because I've been an Olympic class athlete that made 3 different sports disciplines to the Olympic trials at that high level. Because I'm entered now into 4 sports halls of fame, and then 8 years, 7 8 years after. Well, actually, I started 2012 with the National Speakers Association, and all of a sudden was voted in by my peers to be a Hall of Fame speaker.
Wow!
Right?
Congratulations, man.
Thanks.
That's great.
So these are lifestyles, right? This is a lifestyle I'm living.
Yeah.
Because I show up to breathe life into others. So the next iteration is how to breathe life into these companies, these corporations that are seemingly stuck. I can't tell you how many people, executives, CEOs, are telling me, right? Well, we don't know what the administration is going to do, so therefore we have to just hedge our bets on this. And I was like, no, you got to go. You can't wait. You can't wait.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be one way today. It's going to be another way the next day.
Decision commander.
Make the decision.
Yeah.
You got. I give them 13 seconds to make the cut that you need to make. You got it in your gut. You know what to do. Let's just make the cut and let's go. Yes, you may make the wrong cut. Absolutely. I think if hindsight 2020, I made the wrong cut. Right? Off my leg. So I'm a true above the knee amputee, which means I do not have the head of my femur. If I would have kept and been a through the knee amputee, I would still have the head of my femur and be able to weight bear down there. Why is that important? Because my competitor jumped 5 meters 65. Can't remember 5. Yeah. Anyway, Lucas jumped like 560, 67. I jumped 551 meters, and so Lucas is a through the knee amputee, and all my competitors in the long jump were, except for the other American. The way running works is you need stride length, how long your stride is, stride frequency, how fast you turn that stride over, and the thing that puts both of those two in motion is force, power into the ground. So the more power you can get into the ground, the more you can get in your stride length and your stride frequency. So because I'm a true above knee amputee, my weight bearing is at my hip and the ischium bone. So I lose a foot of lever to put power into the ground. So there's no way I can keep up with these guys in 100 meters or 200 meters. It is just physically impossible unless they're just slow.
Yeah.
Right? I can't do that. But in the long jump, remember what I said, I'm a long jumper who became an amputee.
Yeah.
Not an amputee, became a long jumper.
Yeah.
So I knew how to jump. And I knew knowing how to jump with the speed and rate I could generate would probably get me on the medal podium, right? I don't know if I could win gold, but I did know, I could jump, right?
Yeah.
And I looked at everybody else and said, they can't jump. They don't know how to jump. So, and it did. I won silver. But had I known that back when the amputation was happening, do I do a through the knee? Does that change my position now? But I can't change anything, Was the extension stop?
Yeah.
Right? The extension stop keeps the leg from going into hyperextension. I blew that thing out 3 times because I didn't know this. and I was down for 4 months of training. Is that the 4.5 inches I lost by? Or viscosity? Viscosity is how dense the oil is in the knee unit that I wear. And so I was over in Sydney and was overpowering my leg because the leg could not keep up with my newfound speed. And the process said, well, you just need a knee unit that has more viscosity. I said, no, I still want to have kids with my wife, you know. so, so that's good. Y'all catch that on the way out. Uh, and so they fly this new unit over. They put it in. It's got denser oil, which makes my leg come back faster. I'm flying down the runway now, the track.
Wow.
So do I keep it? I don't know, because I don't know if my leg can handle the jump.
Yeah.
If I would have just had this thing 6 weeks earlier, I would have been able to practice with it, to jump with it. Or do I go back to the one where I'm going to be slower, but I know how to jump? So I chose, you know what, at the end of the day, I said, well, I have this new unit in. I'm going with it, right? Because I don't want the what ifs to happen. And I knew that was going to set in. What if I
Yeah.
would just use that
Yeah.
leg, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's where I went, and I wound up winning silver medal in the long jump in Sydney.
Wow.
And then founding, like I said, after that, found the military support program for injured veterans. And now I just run my mouth around the world. You know, I go out and I speak to
Speaker.
companies.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a business person that's a speaker rather than a speaker who's like a business. But the business is speaking. It is, it's 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 helping and showing primarily business leaders how to make those decisions faster, and I use my story to help draw those experiences out.
So what's the difference between being a businessman who speaks and being a speaker whose business is speaking? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like
yeah,
there's a nuance there that I think is important for people to understand. So what is it?
yeah. For me, what it means is think about it from the context of experience. Okay, so I've been involved as like an entrepreneur in a lot of different organizations. The United States Army in building the World Class Athlete Program, the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee in building out the military sport program, and another program that was there, a youth program that was there, training athletes how to tell their journey stories. So I've had
Yep.
that acumen.
Yep.
I've been in war. I've trained other soldiers how to prepare for war. So the business is what I'm talking about. Is I have the experiences instead of me trying to go out and climb a mountain blind, back, blindfolded backwards, and then coming in and trying to use that experience as the acumen to train that. I did that, so you can do it too. No, when we have a conversation on the stage and I do, CEO sit downs, uh, I'm doing it on my model that I built, this
I see.
resilient action model.
Yes.
And so we can go in a lot of different directions. Let's have,
Yes.
like CEOs will say, hey, can you come in and talk to my leadership team for breakfast? Yeah, let's do that. Let's talk about what you're really struggling with right now. So this is not theory. This is actually things that I've practiced
Right.
as a business person.
Right.
But my business is Inspired Communications International,
Yes.
which is that's the umbrella that all this is underneath. So we have other down chains to the
That
business.
makes sense.
That makes sense?
I think it makes sense. Yeah. So you've built systems based on experience or frameworks for thinking, frameworks for action, frameworks for decision making. You've had to make decisions at a very high level and
Right.
with very high stakes.
Very high stakes.
And
Well,
therefore, you know certain things about decision making that you can bring down to the business owner, the business leader,
right.
and equip them to make better decisions. And I think you would probably agree the worst decision is not making a decision, right? It's better to make a bad decision sometimes than to make no decision.
You got to make a decision.
Yeah.
And that goes with one of the things I'll teach is like I just shared with you, when I was in that pain moment, I didn't make the best decision because I wasn't thinking about Paralympic sport. I didn't know
No,
about Paralympic
you had
sport.
no idea.
No idea.
Yeah.
And my team, the doctors, the nurses, the prosthetists, they're thinking about my life and the pain I'm in. We're not forecasting that out to what my life actually could
Yeah.
be.
And they don't know you. They don't know your drive. They don't know,
They don't know.
that you're a champion. Like, they don't know to recommend based on you because they don't
Right.
know you.
So and that's what I'm saying. So when we get into situations like this, so let's take this out of that piece right there, and let's get into my favorite spot, which is the unknown unknown.
Yeah.
And that's from Johari window model that was done by Joseph Ingram and Harry Luft back in I think the late 1950s, early 1960s. And so it's got four quadrants. Quadrant one is what I know about you, what you know about me. That's the known. And we're trying to expand the known area. Then it's what you know. Hey, what's up, sweetie? It's what you it's what you know about me that that I don't know about myself. So it's my blind spots
Yeah.
that you can see that I can't see. But then I
Yeah.
can mask things from you, so I can hide things from you. So that's the third box. Um, and then the final box is what you have yet to discover about me and what I have yet to discover about you, and that's the unknown unknown. So this is what we call uncertainty. We don't know. So this is why you have to have people in the room that are so diverse
Yep.
that they can help you see what you can't see
Yes.
together, right? Because no one
Yes.
knows. So you got
Yes.
to. So that's
Yes.
what we talk about That's how we move it forward.
That's how you expand your vision
So-
to see what
Exactly.
you can't see is you
That's
need the
right.
eyes of other people who can see from different perspectives.
Right.
You
And if
gotta
you're
have that.
homogenous, right? If you only
Yeah.
look one way, then there's no way you can see. So I've walked to the board of directors meetings and walked out when they wanted me to help shift the board or talk about it. I said, you all aren't serious.
Yeah.
You look like there's no way you can be serious. If you really want to make change, you got to fix this,
Yep.
right? You have to have
Yep.
pathways that are true that you actually honor, respect. Because if you don't, you're just going to get the same outputs because you all think the same way. You're thinking the same mindset, and you're trying to think, me coming in here, I'm not going to fix that.
Nah.
Your mindset's
Nope.
not shifted,
Nope.
right?
No. No. You obviously have to decide who you're going to work with, and there's going to be certain characteristics that they have to have in order to be ready for you.
That's right. Because
Yeah.
I'm not the person that gets you. I'm not that person that helps you get ready for it.
Yeah.
There are 1,000 people that
There's
can help
lots of
you do
people that
that.
are like that.
Lots of
Yeah.
people that help you.
That's not you.
That's not me. I can do that, but that's not what I'm called to do.
Doesn't light you up. Yeah.
Oh, not that it doesn't light me up. I mean, I could do that work, but where I'm called to do is get people to make the decision, get out the pot, and make a true commitment, because we don't understand what commitment means anymore. So, for those that are still listening, here's a commitment. When the doctor amputated my left leg, I don't get my leg back. When you make a commitment, you cannot go back to the way it used to be. Period. Full stop.
Side is kill.
Side is kill.
Yeah.
CIDE from
Yeah.
the Greek.
Yeah.
It means to kill.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And so you might have phantom pain to try to go back to a previous state, but that has not. I get phantom pain, but my leg is gone.
It's gone. Yeah.
I don't get that back.
Yeah.
So now I have to give myself space and grace to grow in what I call the renewal portion.
Which is the new reality.
That's
Right?
the new. That's the new. Yeah, we're in the new reality, and there are two things in that new is I'm no longer the expert. So I'm an amputee now. I don't know how to be an amputee. How do I roll a wheelchair to a prosthetic appointment? I've never been in a wheelchair before.
Yeah.
How do I wear an artificial leg? I've never worn it. How do all this stuff? They just picked me to become a CEO. I've never been a CEO before,
Yeah.
right? I'm the new pastor of the church. I've never been a pastor.
Yeah.
So we got to give ourselves space and grace to grow with this new thing that's come into our existence. I've gone from high school to college. What's a freshman? I'm a freshman again? Is this like a freshman in high school, or is this a freshman? I don't know this. So we have to begin to give ourselves space and grace to grow. And once we get it, now at the end of it, we have an acumen. We're in what I call the new normal.
Yeah.
And the best leaders, they celebrate that. And here's what they do. Here's what the best leaders do. And this is what we teach in the model. The best leaders recognize, that they can be in the revision, they can be in the reckoning, the revision, and the renewal in different areas of life at the same time. And that when they are in the celebration phase of the renewal, their head is up looking for the next reckoning. They're
Yeah.
looking for it.
Yeah, come on. I
They're
see you.
looking for it. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I see you. Because reckoning is the suffering.
The stuff
Reckoning is the
it's gonna happen.
discomfort. It's the
That's
place you
right.
don't want to go.
That's right. They're seeking it out. They're looking for it. Those are the best ones. They're just not sitting back, because as soon as you sit back, you think you got it licked. The reckoning happens, and then now you're spinning again. So be looking for your next reckoning.
Oh man, I love that. Actually, that is a massive nugget. And we're kind of coming to the end of time, but I want to actually double circle that what you
Yep.
just
Yep.
said. That a characteristic of a great leader. I don't know how you put it, but the characteristic of a great leader is that when you're in the phase of what you're calling the renewal, which is the success, right, or the victory,
Right.
you're already beginning to look for the next reckoning as opposed to waiting for the next reckoning to come to you.
That's right.
Which reminds me of Wim Hof. I don't know if you're familiar with Wim Hof. He the Wim Hof method, breathing specialist, cold water, cold.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
He's like got world records of being able to survive cold. But he has a saying, go to the cold or the cold will come to you, right? Like he exposes himself to the cold because there's a different tool set when you expose yourself to the cold than when you wait for the cold to come upon you, when you wait for the discomfort to come upon you, right? Like there's a courage and a boldness for those who are willing to go and seek it. So I'm in a season of beginning to learn that. So that actually resonates with me personally with, a weakness in myself that I'm seeking to
Yeah.
rectify.
And I don't know if I would frame it as a weakness.
Yeah,
These are just phases,
sure.
right? It's we all go through them, and this is not something that I want for people to understand that are listening to this, that you're not weak in this. You probably can identify already when I was sharing that, either you're in yourself or in you can see it in someone else,
Yeah,
where they might be.
yeah,
And so you're just trying to get people to move through the process to the next level. Yeah,
yes.
we're just stuck in the reckoning, man. We're not going back to the way it used to be. Well, Jim, I've been here 15 years. I was here now.
We've always done it this way.
You've always done it this way.
Yeah,
You're in the reckoning. That's all.
yeah.
You're reckoning. So what are the tools that you need to get that person to stop saying that and get them into revision to begin to see the
Revision.
possibilities,
Oh yeah, I love it, dude. Oh, I love it. I love it. It's so
right?
good, man. Yeah, yeah,
And then once they see the possibilities, okay, let's commit.
yeah. Let's
Let's
commit.
commit to it. So Tiger Woods, right? He's in the revision, trying to work on a swing over and over
Yeah,
again,
yeah,
over and over again. He's got to do something different because he's not coming on him like he used to do on the fourth day. And so he works on the swing, he works on his drive, whatever he's working on, his putt, and all of a sudden he leaves the game. We don't see him because he's in the revision moment, and then all of a sudden he makes the commitment, comes back in, and now he's trying it. He's no longer the expert. He's trying some stuff in course in real time. Let me go back. When he's practicing by himself, no one's seeing him. So now he's making the mistakes that he needs to make. And then when he comes back in, he's figured it out. He gets back on the course, total domination,
Wow. Yeah, man.
right? So
Yeah,
that's what's available to all of us, and that's how I coach it and teach it.
yeah,
We got some small little tools. It's not rocket science. But it is who some people will just align with me because they feel my vibe, right? And some people,
yep.
just like I felt vibe with some coaches and didn't feel vibe with other coaches who were training me to run hurdles, right? So just that's all.
That's a big part of it, man. Well, I appreciate you, John, like coming and breathing life. Like breathing life to me, to my audience, inspiring us in the way that you mean inspire. Like it's valuable and it's precious to me to have spent this time with you. So thank you for joining us today, man.
Thank you. Thanks for the conversation.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful to dig in with people like with amazing stories like yours. And for everybody that stayed with us up to this point, we're grateful for you, and I hope that you've been inspired and you can go, continue to put the hand to the plow with whatever you've got ahead of you, and and have resilience with it. So thank you, and we'll see you next time. Take it easy.